Imagine this. You're sitting in a cold hospital room at 2 a.m., heart monitors beeping like a countdown, the smell of antiseptic burning your nose. Your husband lies motionless in the bed, tubes everywhere, skin pale as paper after a massive heart attack. And right in front of you, your in-laws are screaming that you murdered him. His father, Victor, towers over me, face purple with rage, finger jabbing inches from my face. This is all your fault. You pushed him too hard. You worked him until his heart gave out. His voice cracks the silence, like thunder. His mother, Lydia, clutches her rosary so tight her knuckles turn white, tears streaming as she whispers, "We warned him about you, you broke our boy." Literally broke his heart. Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. The rest of the family, cousins, aunts, uncles, stand in a semicircle, eyes locked on me like I'm the villain in their personal tragedy. No one speaks up for me. No one questions it. They just stare. Judging. Condemning. I could feel the weight of every accusation pressing down, suffocating. My throat burned with words I couldn't say yet. I wanted to shout back, to tell them the real story, but something held me silent. Because the truth was bigger than their anger. Bigger than their grief. They thought I was the reason Marcus was fighting for his life. They had no idea the person who actually held the answers was about to walk through that door. Have you ever been blamed for something you didn't do by the people who are supposed to love you most? That moment, right there, felt like the end of everything I had built with Marcus. But just as Victor opened his mouth to unleash another wave of fury, the door handle turned. Quietly. Deliberately. And someone stepped inside. Everyone thought Marcus and I had the perfect marriage. The kind people post about on Instagram with heart emojis and sunset photos. We met in college. He was the quiet guy in the back row, who always had the sharpest answers. I was the one dragging him to coffee so he'd actually talk to people. We fell hard, fast. Married at 25. Built a little life that felt unbreakable. But perfect on the outside doesn't mean perfect underneath. Marcus threw himself into his tech consulting business like it was oxygen. Late nights turned into all-nighters. Weekends disappeared into client calls. I was right there cheering him on, proofreading proposals at 3 a.m., bringing him food when he forgot to eat, telling him he could do this. Because I believed in him. Because I loved watching him chase something bigger than both of us. His parents? They never saw it that way. Victor and Lydia visited maybe twice a year, and every single time the air changed. Victor would look around our apartment, see the new couch we bought with bonus money, and mutter, "Must be nice to have her pushing you like this." Lydia would sigh and say, "Marcus, honey, when are you coming home more? Your father misses you. We all do." They never said it outright at first, just little needles. "She's very career-focused, isn't she? No kids yet? You're not getting any younger." He used to call every Sunday. Now it's radio silence. I laughed it off. Marcus laughed it off. We told each other it was just old-school parents being protective. Have you ever had someone decide you're the problem without ever asking your side? The last few months were different. Marcus started looking tired. Really tired. Dark circles. Shortness of breath on the stairs. I'd catch him rubbing his chest when he thought I wasn't looking. I booked him a doctor's appointment 3 times. He canceled everyone. "It's stress, babe. Once this contract lands, I'll slow down. Promise." I begged him to take it easy. I was the one saying rest. I was the one hiding his blood pressure meds in his lunch because he kept forgetting them. They called me the whip. I was the one trying to keep him alive. Then came the night everything shattered. Marcus collapsed in our kitchen, clutching his chest, eyes wide with panic. I drove like a maniac to the ER, screaming at traffic lights, holding his hand the whole way while he gasped, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." They stabilized him. Barely. When his family burst through the hospital doors hours later, faces already wet with tears, I stood up to hug them. Victor shoved past me. He didn't even look at his son first. He looked straight at me. And what he said next still echoes in my skull. Victor stepped right up to me, so close I could smell the coffee on his breath, and hissed the words like they were poison. You killed him. You and your endless demands. The promotions. The bigger house. The vacations he never wanted. You squeezed every last drop out of him until there was nothing left. Lydia collapsed into the chair beside Marcus's bed, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. He was fine before you came along. Our boy was happy. Healthy. He called us every week. Then you made him forget who he was. The rest of them nodded. Murmurs rippled through the room like a dark tide. An aunt whispered. She always seemed controlling. A cousin crossed his arms and stared at the floor like he couldn't bear to look at me. I sat there frozen, hands in my lap, tears burning tracks down my face. Every word felt like a slap, but worse, because part of me wondered if they were right. Had I pushed too hard? Had I missed the signs?
No.
I opened my mouth to speak, voice barely above a whisper. I loved him. More than. Victor cut me off with a bark of laughter that had no humor in it. Love? This isn't love. This is murder by ambition. You saw how tired he was. You saw him rubbing his chest, and you still let him work those 80-hour weeks. You let him. The contradiction hit me like ice water. They were screaming that I forced him to work himself to death, while conveniently forgetting every time they called him asking for money. Every holiday they guilt him into flying home alone because she probably doesn't want to come. Every time Victor bragged to his golf buddies about my son, the big shot entrepreneur, and then turned around and told Marcus he was abandoning his roots. I wanted to scream it all back at them. Instead, I just sat there shaking. Have you ever felt so accused, so cornered, that the truth gets stuck in your throat? The room was suffocating. Monitors beeped louder. Lydia's sobs grew ragged. Victor opened his mouth again, ready to unload more venom. That's when the door creaked. Not slammed. Not burst open. It opened slowly. Quietly. Like someone who didn't need to announce themselves. A man in a white coat stepped inside.
Tall. Calm.
Carrying a thick file under his arm. Victor spun toward him. Doctor. Finally.
Tell her.
Tell this woman she caused my son's heart attack. The doctor, Dr. Harlan, didn't even glance at Victor at first. His eyes found mine. He gave the smallest nod. The kind that says, I know everything. Then he spoke. And the room went dead silent. Dr. Harlan closed the door behind him with a soft click that somehow felt louder than Victor's shouting. He didn't rush. Didn't smile. Just stood there, file in hand, scanning the room like he'd walked into this exact scene 100 times before. Victor immediately launched in. Doctor, you have to tell her. She did this. She pushed our son. Dr. Harlan raised one hand. Not angry. Just firm. The room actually listened. I've been Marcus's cardiologist for 7 years, he said quietly. 7 years. And I've known about his condition the entire time. Condition? My stomach dropped. I knew Marcus had seen a heart specialist once or twice, but he always brushed it off as routine checkups. He never told me details. Said it was nothing serious. Dr. Harlan opened the file. Flipped a few pages. His voice stayed steady, almost gentle. Marcus has hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. It's genetic. Thickened heart muscle. Makes it harder for the heart to pump. It's been there since he was in his 20s. We caught it early on an echo during a sports physical. Victor's face went slack. Lydia's sobs hitched into silence. Genetic. Not caused by stress. Not caused by me. Not caused by anyone in this room. The doctor continued. We prescribed beta blockers. Lifestyle changes. Regular monitoring. He was supposed to avoid extreme stress, heavy exertion, caffeine overload. Most importantly, he was supposed to tell his family. He looked straight at Victor. He didn't. He told me he didn't want you to worry. Didn't want you to think he was weak. Especially you, sir. Victor's mouth opened.
Closed.
No sound came out. I felt something crack inside my chest. Not anger. Grief. For all the nights Marcus lay awake hiding chest pain so his dad wouldn't see him as less than perfect. For the way he'd smile at me and say, I'm fine, while his body was screaming otherwise. Dr. Harlan turned to me. Elena, You were the only one who noticed. The only one who kept pushing him to rest. To take the meds. To see me when he canceled appointments. You weren't pushing him to work harder. You were pushing him to live. The irony burned. They blamed me for his death, while I was the one fighting to keep him breathing. Lydia whispered. He never said. Of course he didn't, Dr. Harlan said. He loved you all too much to let you see him vulnerable. Have you ever realized the person you love most was protecting everyone except maybe themselves? The doctor closed the file. Looked down at the latest page of test results. His expression shifted. Something heavier settled in his eyes. He slowly raised his head. And what he said next made the entire room stop breathing. Dr. Harlan let the silence hang for a beat, long enough for every person in that room to feel the weight of what was coming. He looked at the test results again, then directly at Victor and Lydia. Marcus is stable, he said. The emergency procedure worked. They cleared the blockage. He's in recovery now. He'll wake up soon. A collective breath rushed out. Lydia's hand flew to her mouth. Victor's shoulders dropped like someone cut his strings. But the doctor wasn't done. There's more. He pulled a small, folded piece of paper from the file. This was in Marcus's wallet. He asked me months ago to keep it safe, if anything ever happened. He wanted it read only if the worst came. But since he's going to make it, I think you all need to hear it now. He unfolded it carefully. Marcus's handwriting, neat, deliberate. Dr. Harlan read aloud, voice steady but thick. If you're reading this, it means I didn't get the chance to say it myself. Mom, Dad, I love you. I always have. But I hid the diagnosis because I couldn't stand the thought of you looking at me like I was broken. Dad, you taught me a man provides. Doesn't complain. Doesn't fail. So, I kept going. Pushed harder. Hid the pain. I thought if I just worked enough, built enough, I'd prove I was still your strong son. He paused. Lydia was crying silently now. Elena, you saw me.
Really saw me.
You begged me to rest when no one else did. You fought for my life when I was too stubborn to fight for myself. You weren't the one pushing me to death. You were the one holding me back from the edge. If I survive this, it's because of you. If I don't, tell them I'm sorry. And tell you I love you. Always. The room shattered in the quietest way possible. Victor sank into a chair, face buried in his hands. Lydia reached for me, trembling, then pulled back like she didn't deserve to touch me. I stood there, letter echoing in my head, tears falling freely now. They'd accused me of killing him, but he'd been killing himself to protect their image of him. Have you ever had the truth hit so hard it rewrites every memory you thought you understood? Victor finally looked up at me, eyes red, voice broken. Elena. He couldn't finish. The door to recovery swung open. A nurse stepped out. He's awake. Asking for his wife.